Thank you Greenwood Furniture for kindly sponsoring a portion of today's video. Hello creative friends, I'm Anastasia and welcome back to my channel. Today we're completing our dining room makeover. This space started off completely bare, but we're transforming it into a cozy, moody, cottage-inspired dream. I'll be mixing modern and vintage elements, plus showing you how I style it with thrifted and DIY pieces to give it tons of character. Let's go! In part 1 of the dining room makeover, I showed y'all the 2 rugs that I ordered and I definitely had a favorite, so now that the room is fully painted, I want to roll them out to finalize my choice. This one's a very nice rug with a lovely pattern, but I wasn't expecting there to be so much blue and dark red. It definitely looked a little bit different online, which is why I try to order rugs that are returnable. The colors of it just don't feel right in here with this wall color. So I ordered this second one, which is a bit more neutral colored. It has some dark charcoals, some browns, some creams. It's definitely got a subtle green tone to it overall. I also love the pattern, and these cute little flowers on it are my most favorite part. So this is 100% the one I'm going with. This gorgeous table and bench set were gifted to us from Greenwood Furniture, and it really is the centerpiece that inspired this entire room design. That's what I was gonna do. Look how pretty it is. It's gorgeous. It's even prettier than the pictures. It's a solid wood. It feels like such good quality. I fell in love with this rich wood tone and the details on the legs. I really can't say enough about the quality and craftsmanship of their furniture, so check them out if you're wanting affordable solid wood furniture for your home. This is the Valerie dining table and bench in rustic walnut, which I would describe as a medium wood tone with a lot of richness and warmth. It was so easy to assemble and only took about 20 minutes to set up the dining table of my dreams. Greenwood is family-owned, sustainably sourced, and each piece is crafted with so much care and pride. I've put the link in my description so you can check them out. Now that we've got the basic pieces for this room, let's try out some curtains. I ordered these linen floral ones, which are really whimsical and cottagey. But I just felt like they were clashing with the rug a bit with the 2 different patterns, so I decided to grab some random fabric from around my house to test out what other colors could look good in here so I can go shopping for some more curtains. So I grabbed this linen shower curtain that I had, and I also hung up a few other curtains that I already had to see what felt best. So it's been a couple of days since I tried out those curtains in here and none of them worked, but I did feel like it helped me when I was shopping for more curtains because it gave me an idea of the general color that looked better in here or colors that didn't look good in here. So I ended up ordering some more curtains and I wanted to unbox them with you because I think these will work. So I want to go ahead and take them out and then show them to you. This is my first time opening them as well. They're really pretty. They're actually a nice color. They're like a linen, like a natural linen, but they don't have that yellowish undertone. They're also, which I'm excited about, they're pleated. This is beautiful. It's a double pleat. So pretty. Those first floral curtains that I ordered didn't have a pleat. I just liked their kind of natural flowy look, but I do think the pleats are gonna just add that fanciness, you know? It's just gonna make it look a little bit more put together, a little more designer. I actually ordered some curtain clips that have the clamp on the bottom. There's Hazel. That have the clamp on the bottom, but what I didn't realize when I initially picked out these curtains, which I picked out because they were like the only kind I could find that was this exact color, but these had clips, rings that came with them, and these plastic adjustable hooks that go on the back of the pleats. So this, I mean, I'm just so excited. This is gonna make these curtains look so high end. So let's go ahead and put these together and get them hung up so we can see how they look. This is where the pleat is sewn in the back. So this big hook part just kind of fits perfectly in there. And there we go. And then these are the rings. I have this little ring, and that's what hooks onto that. Oh, it's gonna look so good. And then these are adjustable on here, so you can slide them down if you don't want the rings to show, or slide them all the way up if you do want the rings to show, or if your curtains are like a little bit too long or too short, one way or the other. I love this. This is so easy. The lighting in here is not too bright right now, but this is how they're looking. They're the perfect length. They will definitely need some work before they look super perfect. I definitely want to steam these pleats to get them to lay in that beautiful wavy way. So that's something we're going to figure out together in this video. But I think that I'll keep these curtains. I like the way they look. They're not too much of a statement, but that's okay because the room color really is the statement here. Now that I've decided on the curtains, I'm wondering whether or not I should still go with my original plan to paint the trim around the window, the same color as the walls. So I would only be painting this outer wooden frame, and then the vinyl part would still be white. So I am gonna go ahead and do that. So we finished painting 2 coats of Ethereal Mood on the wooden window frame, and that is how it's looking. I think that it looks so much better and softer now that there's not so much of a thick white frame happening, and that part just blends into the wall. And even though the central parts of the windows are still white, it's so much less in your face than it was before, and I think this was the perfect choice. Now that the window's painted, I've got the curtains hung back up, so let's go ahead and memory train these. I started by using my iron to steam them, but it was giving me technical difficulties, so I decided to just iron them instead, but I'm spraying them down with some water first so that it's steaming them as well. So once your curtains are hanging back up, go ahead and gather the pleats perfectly, making sure there are no folds or wrinkles hidden in between each of those pleated ruffles. And I'm just using some chip clips to hold them in place while I go down the length of the curtain. Once you've got them all pleated up, I recommend using ribbon or twine to tie around them loosely because the chip clips do hold them pretty tight and it will leave a crease. Now I'm giving them a spray with some heavy finish laundry starch, and I let these sit like this for several days so that pattern can really set in. So I picked up some of this color. This is Alabaster by Sherwin-Williams, and I think this is what we're gonna paint the fireplace. This is like just a warmer, a little bit darker and creamier white than what's currently on the fireplace. You can see currently it's very stark white, like there is no undertone there. It's just the whitest white you can get. And this is gonna keep it with that bright whiteness that it has, but give it a little bit more warmth so that it blends better with the warm tones that are in the room. The lighting in here is slightly different now, but this is after a second coat on this brick with the alabaster. So you can see that it is just a little bit warmer. It takes away that starkness that was there. So we are gonna go with this one and go ahead and get the whole fireplace painted. I have a long-term goal for it, and that's to build out around it, kind of like this picture, and paint it the same color as the walls and add some pretty decorative molding. But phase 1 of it will just be to paint it something that is more cohesive with the room.
Oh my gosh, this difference, y'all. Can y'all see it? Maybe I'll try to put up a picture of the before so you can see what it looked like before compared to now. It is night and day difference. It is so much warmer now, and the tones of it really tie in with the paint color so much better. To me, it is the perfect white to pair with ethereal mood.
These are my beautiful dining chairs that I got on Facebook Marketplace for $75. I think they're pretty old, but I couldn't find these exact chairs online, but some research on the construction and design is suggesting that they could be from the 1880s to 1920s, and they're in fantastic condition if they are that old. We wanted to take off the existing fabric on the seats, and we found so many layers of fabric from throughout the years. Not a third layer. Oh my gosh, how many layers? They all had at least 2 layers, but the worst one had 5 layers of fabric, and they got progressively dirtier and smellier as we removed each one. Layer number 4. Oh, I don't even want to touch it. Oh yeah, gosh. That one's gross. Oh my gosh.
Throw it away.
Straight to jail. And this was another sign of just how old these chairs could be, because the bottom layer of padding was made of a mixture of straw and various woolen fibers and a little bit of very disintegrated foam. After giving these seats a couple of weight tests and seeing that 2 of them were broken beyond repair, we decided to just create brand new seats for all of them. So I'm using some 3/8" plywood and tracing the original seats to get the right size. My husband taught me how to use a circular saw to cut the new seats, and I feel like I can literally do anything now that I know how to use it. Then we just sanded them down smooth and rounded out the edges. To make the cushions, I ordered this 2-inch upholstery foam on Amazon, and I'm cutting out around each seat, leaving a little bit of space on all sides. I'll link the upholstery videos that I followed for more detailed instructions. And I'm attaching the wood to the foam with some Gorilla Glue spray just to make sure there's no chance they'll shift around when someone's sitting on them. I also went back in and rounded the edges of the foam so that the cushions had a rounded shape. At the fabric store, there were so many options to choose from, and I wanted some sort of pattern, but they only had a few and they just weren't the right style. So we ended up going with this chocolatey brown, which complements my rug, and I also don't have to worry about them staining very easily. First, I'm stapling on some cotton batting, then stapling on my fabric. The trickiest part was getting the corners smooth, but the only thing that was really hard about doing this was that after a while, my hand hurt pretty bad from using the staple gun for several hours straight, but overall, this is a pretty easy project. Again, I will link the upholstery videos that I watched down below.
I'm so happy with how beautiful these chairs turned out with this fabric. And honestly, I was second guessing this fabric when I first chose it, but I think it just adds so much richness to these beautiful chairs. And the fabric is simple enough to where it complements the chair, but it doesn't take away from the beautiful features that the chair has.
A while ago, I picked up these 2 sconces from the thrift store for $3 each, and I always knew I wanted to DIY them. So today is the day. I'm removing the metal candle holder because that's the only part of these I'll be using. And I headed to Hobby Lobby's wood section to pick out a new backplate. I decided on this oval one, and I grabbed some candles there as well. I made sure to sand down the wood as smooth as I could, then I'm giving it 2 coats of this matte coffee bean spray paint, which is a gorgeous paint by the way, and the coverage is amazing. After figuring out exactly where I wanted them to attach, I'm drilling the holes and creating a shallow notch in the back so that the screw can be set within the wood. I'm also adding a little hook on the back so I can hang it. I want the entire thing to imitate the look of brass, so I'm covering it with antique gold rub and buff. I realized here that the wood grain was showing through and that was not the look, so I went in with some thick brown acrylic paint that did a much better job of covering any texture in the wood. Then I used a sponge to remove the brush strokes. After that, the rub and buff went on so much better. I wanted the candle holders to match exactly, so I followed the same process of spray painting it brown, rub and buffing with antique gold. And don't worry, these are not real brass, they were just brass plated and they were in pretty rough shape visually.
I wanted to show you, since I'm about to hang up the sconces I made, my reasoning for where I'm going to place them. So the blue tape on either side of the fireplace is where I'm thinking that's about 11 inches out from either side of the fireplace. Now you may notice that the blue tape is not centered in the middle of each of those walls, and the reason is because if you can see, the fireplace itself is not centered, which really sucks, but we're working with it. So the left side of the fireplace wall is about 6 inches narrower than the wall on the right side of the fireplace. And it just does not look right to center the sconces on each of those walls because they would be different distances from the sides of the fireplace. So to fix that problem, I'm going to just hang them evenly on either side of the fireplace with the same amount of distance between the sconce and the fireplace. So I think that'll give it the symmetry that it needs. I think it looks better when the bottom of the sconce is lined up with the top of the mantle. Somewhere like that. What's throwing me off is that this mantle is really high, as you can see. Not that I'm that tall, I'm 5 foot tall. But if the mantle was down here, then the obvious place to me would be somewhere around here. But because this lines up with this mantle, it just doesn't feel right to me. So I almost want to go higher, but then that feels really close to the ceiling for a sconce. But then there's the question of, do I go like just slightly higher, or do I go like several inches higher? Or is that too high? Like I don't want it to look awkward, you know? I wish I could hear y'all's thoughts so you could help me with this.
I wanted to save money and thrift a light fixture, so I ran to the Habitat for Humanity because they have tons of light fixtures for just $5 to $10 each. I did have to dig because a lot of them are really outdated looking, but I found a few that were promising. Then I found this one for $10 and I loved the color of it already and those cute little details that were on it. I also found this one for $5 that was smaller, but I loved the color of it as well, so I got it. But I think it's too small for the dining room, so I'll save it for a makeover somewhere else in the house. We started by removing this old ceiling fan, which was one of the more difficult parts of this entire makeover because it was so awkward and very heavy. And the drill couldn't easily get to the bolt, so we had to undo a lot of it by hand, which took forever, but we finally got it down, and this is me after feeling like I just completed the hardest workout of my life. me and Dalton learned together how to install a light fixture, and it actually worked, and I'm so happy to add that skill to my tool belt. Because the fireplace is off center and we aligned the dining table with the fireplace, that means the light fixture box isn't hung centrally to the table. So we did install a swag hook and swagged it to be centered with the table.
3, 2, 1. Oh, yay!
Yay!
We have light.
We have light.
So we got this beautiful light fixture hung last night, and it's so pretty. I think it's really unique, but I wanted to see if I could switch out the shades to something that would give it a little bit of a modern twist so that it kind of fits in with that modern vintage combo vibe that I want in here. So I'm going to take off these glass shades and replace them with these. So these are little mini chandelier shades, and they just pop right onto the light bulbs. They're the little torpedo shaped light bulbs, and they just pop right on top. So let's see how these look. How precious is that? You can get these on Amazon. I'll link them in my Amazon storefront. These are so cute. I think that took it from just being a vintage style chandelier to being a vintage cottage style. I think it gives it the perfect look for this room.
So I'm trying to figure out which art frame that I want to go on top of the mantle, and I want to make sure that I'm getting one that's big enough to where it fits the scale of the mantle. Here is this frame, which I really like because it already matches the sconces. It's gold and white, and I don't have to DIY it. So I just have to get some art printed for it. But it's a little bit smaller than what I want. So this one is more to the scale that I want. It feels like it fits the mantle better, but I do have to DIY it. It will not be this exact frame, but I have a match to it, and it's gold, but it's really, really yellow and brassy. So I would have to spray paint it brown and then rub and buff it.
After I gave this frame a coat of the matte coffee bean spray paint, now I'm giving the entire thing a coat of the antique gold rub and buff. I had this absolutely beautiful, moody piece of art printed at Walmart in a 20 by 30 size. Now I'm just using double-sided tape to attach it to the front of this foam core board. The downloadable print is available on Etsy for less than $5, but it's also in the public domain, so if you wanted to get it completely for free, you can. I will link both below for you, but keep in mind that if you want to get the free version and print it as large as I did, you'll need to use an image enlarger so that the resolution is still clear. So I'll also link the image enlarger that I used below. The floral art is absolutely stunning on the fireplace, but I wanted to show you that I ended up moving the sconce on the right down just to see it at a lower height. The one on the left was feeling just too high, so I'm going to get that one moved down off camera to match with the right side. My Pinterest boards are full of gallery walls, so I'm really excited to be creating my first one today. I'm starting out with brown craft paper and tracing my frames onto it so I can play around with the layout. I tried several different configurations before landing on this one. All of these frames that I'll be using are thrifted, and I just didn't like the yellow tone that they were, so I'm changing the tone of it slightly with this antique gold rub and buff. It's not very easy to see on camera, but it did make a huge difference. Some of you may remember when I DIY'd this frame a while ago with the Grecian gold, but I added some antique gold on top of that to match the other frames. I purchased some art prints on Etsy and had them printed at Walmart. I'll make sure that all of these downloadable art prints are linked below. This picture frame hanging kit is a must-have, so I'll link that below as well. I just put these right into my sheetrock walls, even if there's no stud, and it does a great job at holding frames as long as they aren't super heavy. We're getting so close to the end of this makeover, and we just have a few final touches left, so I'm taping down my rug. And I'm also installing a new wall hook system since I took down the other one. I found this gold knobbed wall hook at Hobby Lobby, and it's the perfect size for this little wall by the back door. And I just rub and buffed the screws so that they blended in. Now it's time for the most fun part of all, and that's decorating. All of these items I'm using are thrifted, including the greenery. The clay jar was an amazing find that I'm still in shock over, and this vase is one that I DIY'd a while back. This bubble glass vase is vintage home goods, and the sticker says it was $9.99 at the time. It was my grandmother's, who said she bought it about 40 years ago. All of the other decor I'm using here is also thrifted, with the exception of this cute marble tray, which is from At Home. This silver purse with inlaid stones is something I thrifted about 10 years ago probably, and I've never seen anything like it. This makeover was so much fun, incredibly hard but incredibly rewarding to do, and I'm so excited to show you how it all turned out.
I have set my sights on a summer evening where we can watch the sky chase the morning. Us under the stars, you fall into my arms. There's no one else I'd rather be here with. And in the end, I'll be here when I feel your light warming up my skin. And in good time, we'll make our lives together under tie-dye sky.
Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys!